Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to the one of the first videos in the Marvel United X-Men campaign. So I've done the videos on all the first Marvel United stuff that came out, which had Avengers, Spider-Man, all the Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor, all the cinematic universe type characters, the Defenders, all those cool guys. So this set is all based on X-Men. So I've already done the unboxing for the core set, which I have in my hands right here. And I'm going to be doing a series of videos on all of the other new expansions. So of course we have First Class, X-Force, Phoenix Spy, Days of Future Past, Deadpool, Special Fantastic Four cameo, Age of Apocalypse way up here at the top, Blue Team, Gold Team, Stretch Goals, we got special dashboards we'll go through, plastic tokens, some extra locations. So there's a lot of content. Each one's going to be its own separate video, but if you want to know a little bit more about gameplay, I probably either done it in the original Marvel video, or I'll end up maybe making a new one with the X-Men characters. So there's a little bit of that. So I'm just going to hop in on what is in everything. I just wanted to do a quick setup on the beginning of these videos. So if you enjoy whichever video this is, check out the rest of them to see all of the other campaign for the X-Men sets that are coming out. So without further ado, we'll jump into this video. Alright, we're going to hit the Days of Future Past. So if you thought the threats of, Magneto and Sabretooth and Strife and Apocalypse were bad, wait till you fight off against Nimrod and the Sentinels. So in this storyline, if you're not familiar with this classic storyline, this is in the future, and basically, Sentinels have taken over everything. They've killed most of the mutants. You've seen, the picture of, Wolverine and stuff standing next to a poster of a bunch of faces where it's all said slain or apprehended. So this is an old Wolverine. He's just known as Logan. It used to be called old Logan, but then now they have the current version. Well, they have a Logan that's called Old Man Logan. So this is now just referred to as Logan. But he's older. And he's trying to rescue his team, like Colossus, Storm, Magneto, and Kate Pryde are all in there. It has to do with mind transferring. They send Kate Pryde back into young Katie Pryde's body to try and help prevent this future from happening. And it's sort of the plot that was of the Days of the Future Past. Movie had a very similar feel to it, where you saw that with Sentinels. You saw the movie, Sentinels were attacking everything, and then they sent Wolverine back in time. This one, the comic book, was actually Kitty Pryde that got sent back. But yeah, so this is essentially a giant boss mode, which is really fun. So I went over the instructions here, so we're gonna get some cool stuff. Basically, you fight off against the Sentinels. So, we got this big giant board here. There's a special setup. So, this doesn't use missions. So, you're not trying to rescue civilians or do complete threats and do heroic stuff and beat up thugs. You're just fighting Sentinels to stay alive and beat them. And then after you beat them, you have to fight Nimrod and defeat him. And if you can somehow survive 3 Sentinels and a Nimrod, which is an advanced Sentinel, you win. So if you're playing with 2 players, you only have to fight 2 of the Sentinels. As you fight more. And then there's some other little rules there. But basically this big giant board here has a 6 sides. You can put your locations on there. This does not come with any extra locations though. But you start off fighting these Sentinels, and they're going to have health versus a number of players. Each one is specified as being 1, 2, or 3, so you know which one's which. And it has rules. So missions are not used. Heroes may damage Sentinels from the start. Sentinels have no master plan deck. Instead, they have a special activation card. which each player will get. And when a hero is tailed, increase the Nimrod activation track by 1, plus 1 for each data analyzer threat in play. So yeah, here's the activation track. And now it's overflow if one or more tokens can't be added to a location, increase the activation by 1. And then eventually you're going to fight Nimrod here. Who has special, he's always under pressure and may be damaged as soon as he enters play. So when he enters play after the third Sentinel is defeated, or the last Sentinel, if there's only 2 of them, you get to start using his plot deck, his master plan deck, like you do a normal villain. And then he always plays 2 every turn instead of every 3, because you've already been playing for a while, but you can hit him right away. At the end of the turn in which Nimrod is reduced to 4 or less health, it immediately moves to the opposite location. It's just going to jump away as soon as it can. And then, when a hero is tailed, Nimrod doesn't activate its BAM. Instead, the hero is eliminated from the game. So, you're already going to be taking damage from Sentinels, and if he somehow finishes you off, you're done. He has literally killed you. His BAM is each of Nimrod's locations takes 1 damage, plus 1 extra if the Nimrod track is in yellow, and 2 if it is in red. And then the villainous plot, all heroes lose if they're all eliminated. So it's literally a game of survival. So here are big giant tokens you'll keep track of. So you give 1 to each player, and this is determines which Sentinel is trying to attack which player. If you're playing 4 players, 1 person won't have one, so they just have to then pick who they want to attack them. And then these sides are face down, so you can randomly hand them out. We're going to look at some of these other cards before we look at the miniatures. If that's what I want to call them. So here's an activation card. So each player will get 1 of these. There are 4 of them in the deck. They're the exact same thing. So it says, after each hero's turn, the Sentinel matching that hero's Sentinel target, so like 1 does 1, 2 does 2, follow the Sentinel activation protocol. So if like your player, like if you're playing as Logan and you have token number 3, then Sentinel number 3 will activate. And then if the next player is like Kitty Pryde and she has token 1, then number 1 will activate after her turn. If you're the 4th player, you get to choose which one activates against you, so it might be whether you're close to it or far away or how you want to deal with that. Hero has no token, they must activate a Sentinel of their choice to become the target for that turn. Look at the symbols at the bottom of the last 2 hero cards in this storyline. Then have the activated Sentinel perform the actions corresponding to the symbols in order. So you look at whatever card you just played plus whatever the previous player played, and you will do certain effects. So you gotta really plan out what you want to do. You can't just be playing stuff all willy-nilly. Because whatever you play, you know the Sentinel is going to at least get those abilities. So activated Sentinel checks the symbol at the bottom of the last 2 hero cards. If there's a move icon, move 1 location closer to its target. If it's already in there, increase the Nimrod track by 1. If it was a heroic, add 1 civilian to its location. If it's a attack, deal 1 damage to a hero in its location, if any. If it is a wild, recover 1 health for each Sentinel production threat card in play. If already at full health, increase the Nimrod activation track by 1. Then 5 is if the last hero card, so the one you just played, has a special effect, increase the activation by 1. And then if the target hero is in the Sentinel's location, that hero takes 1 damage. So yeah, so a bunch of different stuff there. And it's going to be the same for each one. There's also a quick alternate mode, so there are 3 challenge cards. 1 belonging to each of the Sentinels. So Sentinel 1, 2, and 3. And they're going to play basically the same. So you can add Sentinels to other games. So if, like, let's say you are fighting Magneto, and you want to have a Sentinel rush in and start messing stuff up. So this Sentinel cannot be damaged until the villain becomes under pressure. After each hero's turn, the Sentinel acts according to the symbols of the last hero card. So whatever you play activates. So it's a lesser effect than the original, but you can't attack them right away. So all 3 of these Sentinels are going to have the same first 3 abilities. If it's a move, you move towards the last hero. Heroic, you add a civilian to that Sentinel's location. If it's an attack, deal 1 damage to the hero. If none in its location, move towards the last hero. Then the 4th one is different per Sentinel. So this Sentinel has like 2 health, and it says it'll gain 1 health and may go above starting value. Sentinel 2 has 3 health, and its 4th ability says flip the last hero's earliest face-up card in the storyline. It has a special effect face down. And then its 4th one is grab 1 hero. You can't do anything. Goes with the Sentinel. Move to escape. If already holding a hero, it does 1 damage to it. Yeah, this is kind of, drag the guy around. This one you might be like, well, who cares if the effect is, but if you have a starting card in your hand that says, like a healing factor or an armor card that stays in it, as long as this is in play, you gain this ability. Well, if you play that and then that Sentinel immediately activates, it's going to eliminate that card. So that is that. Let's look at our threat cards. So these cards are for both Nimrod and the Sentinels. So we have 2 copies of Mutant Detection. Heroes that take damage in this location take 1 extra damage. When this threat is cleared, decrease the Nimrod activation by 1. So there's a good reason to get rid of those, so you can drop that Nimrod track back down. We have 2 Sentinel productions. See Sentinel activation protocol. When this threat is cleared, decrease the Nimrod track by 1. So it says see what the Sentinel activation protocol. So that is not this one. It is this one. So it's saying you recover 1 health for each Sentinel production card in play. If it's at full health, you gain 1 health. So as long as this is out, they're going to keep gaining health back until you can take it out. If they're at full health, they are going to increase that track. So you want to take care of them quick as well. And then we got 2 data analyzers. This is Sentinel special rules. When this threat is cleared, decrease it by 1. And so that is, if a hero is KO'd, increase the track by 1 for each extra analyzer. So as long as there's 2 of them out, every time a hero is KO'd, you're going to move that track up by 3. And you have to try and keep it from getting to 15. Or you are going to pretty much lose the game. It says heroes lose if it hits 15. So as long as you can keep eliminating these, you can potentially at least eliminate 6, which is almost half of the track, which would definitely help. I think before we look at the Sentinels, we're going to look at Nimrod. Let's see what the ultimate threat looks like. So here's our little Nimrod. Weird triangular shaped guy. He's got this cool little air effect on the bottom, kind of show that he's supposed to be flying. And then let's look at his cards. So he's very pink. Which is always something that people make fun of him about. Like, Sentinels are purple. The advanced Sentinel, like the future one, is pink. So it's kind of the funny thing there. So his cards are, like most bosses, kind of generic. Could you fight him just by himself? You probably could without the Sentinels in there. It's just whether he's going to be strong enough on his own without having already weakened characters. I don't know that for sure. So he's got these movements, just say move clockwise to the location of the hero with the most cards in hand. That one plays thugs, this one plays civilians, and we got 2 more of that, some thugs and civilians. Got another set of those. Then we have some abilities. So he's got 2 copies of Analyze and Counter. Nimrod recovers 1 health for each hero still in play. Can't go above his starting value. And then his other one is we have 2 copies of Adapt and Exterminate. Increase the Nimrod track by 2, then BAM. So then he's going to hit you with his BAM ability, which was each hero's location takes 1, 2, 2 or 3 damage depending on how far that track up is. And he just upped it by 2, so it's probably at least in the yellow at that point. So that is our threat of Nimrod. So yeah, you could probably play him by himself, but I don't know if he has a whole lot of way of increasing that Nimrod track by himself. Most of it's the Sentinels doing it ahead of time. So just his counter wouldn't go up that often. But you can always like fudge the rules and like every turn it goes up by 1 automatically. That might be a little threat. Alright, so let's look at these Sentinel miniatures. So we're going to move these out of the way. So there is number 1, and he has a little 1 on his base. These guys are big. They're like trying to be like to scale to the models, which is really awesome. And then they're all in different poses. So he's getting ready to blast down. This one kind of did like a crash landing. You see him kind of crushing the ground. He's bracing for a little bit more attack, and that has the 2 symbol on it. And this one is facing the other way, and he's got the 3 symbol. He's kind of got his hand open. There's our 3 symbol. So there are our 3 Sentinels. Here they are in comparison to Nimrod. So Nimrod standing on this block is not very tall. Then we have our other character. We have Logan. He's got this cool fuzzy trench coat. He's got cargo pants on. He's got gray hairs. So then what's supposed to happen is this. He's supposed to actually grab them, is the idea. He's supposed to carry them around by holding them. Now his hand's not necessarily going to grab every character as even. But yeah, he holds him pretty well. But I mean, like, you shake him, he's going to fall right out. So just be careful so you don't drop your guys off the table or wreck any of their parts. But yeah, look at how small he is compared to these guys. So yeah, the Sentinels are huge. They make an impact. But it's also fun that you can add 1 to each game. Any other game. So that's really cool. So let's finally then look at Logan's stuff and see what he can do for us. And my Sentinels are holding hands. Stop holding hands, Sentinels. So we'll set Logan up there and we'll zoom back in. So we get one more future hero. And there's going to be... That's what Logan looks like. He's old and grizzled. And in the comic books, he actually... spoiler for a super old comic book, he gets killed. And he gets fried and turned into an adamantium skeleton. So Logan starts with a starting card. So this one says, withstanding the pain. As long as this card is in the storyline, you may ignore 1 damage during each villain turn. And there's, I was talking about that poster, kind of in the back. They're sort of showing that, kind of somewhat recreating that classic image. So we see what other cards he has. He has some movement. Moving attack. Just attack. Heroic attack. Heroic attack. Move attack. His wilds. And then his special abilities. He's got, so we already saw that one. He's got 3 copies of fighting expertise. Should be interesting to compare him at some point to the Logan from the base set. Just to see what he looks like. But I'll do that maybe in a separate video. So his fighting experience. Attack, draw 1 card. And then he can also do 1 damage. So he just refill his hand right away. Definitely fun. So a little bit interesting character to get to play as. Well, I say you have to worry about that starting card, because if they hit you right off the bat and get rid of that card, then you lose it. So that's Days of Future Past. It's a fun boss mode. A little bit different than the other boss modes, like Being a Spy, where it was like a it's a campaign fighting multiple guys in a row. The Apocalypse, Horsemen of Apocalypse, you fight the group of them, or like the Thanos set where you fight a group of enemies. Then you fight the boss, either Apocalypse or Thanos, and they're sort of similar to this. You fight like a group, and then the boss character is stronger or weaker depending on how well you get against the other character. But not as much like Sinister Six, where you're fighting like a rotation of guys. But it's kind of definitely neat. And the fact you can add these guys to other campaigns to make them a little bit more challenging or difficult. I don't know if you want to add them right off the bat, because if they're just doing damage to you, there's nothing you can do about it. But again, it's kind of thing. It's supposed to be tracking them down, so you kind of gotta run away from them while dealing with the threats. But yeah, a fun little box set. Neat way to make use of an alternate timeline as well. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Bye.